So the aim of this video is to introduce Kanban or card view, the power of drop-downs on fields, and just to show how easy it is to add graphs. So just make sure you've watched the Capturing Company Contact Details video and make sure you can understand relational data before watching this video. So we're going to begin by creating a table called Sales Opportunities. We've done this several times now, so it should be pretty straightforward. We're going to start by creating a table called Sales Opportunities, and then we're going to jump to a version where multiple relational fields have been created, as you already know how to do this. So I'm now going to show you how to add the last field, as we haven't created this type of field before. So we'll be creating a status field. So click on Fields, add under Name, Status. The type is text. We're going to click Add. We're then going to scroll down and tick Use drop-down. We've just gone back into Fields so that we can do our calculations. You then scroll down further and under Values, we're going to enter different status options so that when you create a new opportunity, you'll be able to choose one of these in a drop-down as a status option. So for the purpose of this video, you'll just see us entering the first one, and then I'm going to skip to all 6 having been entered, all 6 status options. We're going to scroll back to the beginning of the list and add a comma. Deciding whether you have a comma or not at the beginning of this list is basically deciding whether this drop-down will have a default or not. When the comma is there is no default value, and instead you have to choose from the list. So if the comma is there, the first in the list will be the default option. Defaults are put in place just to basically help the user be more efficient and to make the process more user-friendly. So let me give you an example. If you have a drop-down for gender, there will be no default option. The user just will choose themselves. However, if you have a drop-down, for example, for company details, company name can be made the default to make the process more efficient and easier to use. In this instance, for sales opportunity, new entry will always need to be the default, so we won't add the comma. So we will now be adding a view to show all the sales opportunities that we will be creating, which is recapping what we did in video 1. Just before we do this, we'll be adding a tile called Sales Pipeline in order to access the data. So exit off of the table, go to Tiles and add a tile. And we're going to call it Sales Pipeline. And click Create. So you can also choose an icon for the tile if you wish. So for this example here, I'm going to select a dollar icon. So select the icon that you want. This is how the tile would look. We will now be creating a view called All Sales Opportunities, which is the beginning of our tutorial on Kanban or Cards Interface. Kanban or Cards Interface are still just views of data, so like we've seen several times already, we start by building a view from the appropriate table. So we're now going to add the status field to the view. So we're going to go to Edit View. We're going to click Add to create the field status. So at the top where it says Sales Opportunities and Field Status, click Add. The name is Status, so add again. We've moved Status to be near the front of the list because it needs to be the first drop-down field, and this is important in controlling the Kanban view. So if you exit off of here, you can see that this has inputted what we have just created, i.e. the status options. So we will now enable the Cards interface. So click Edit View, click on Properties and Options, click on the Interface drop-down and select Cards in Columns. So you can see immediately on the left here how this has changed the layout. If you then toggle off of development mode, you can see what this would look like. Kanban allows for a nicer user interface where you can drag and drop to manage, in this case, sales opportunities. By dragging and dropping, you are editing the status value. If you click on one of these, you can do a small amount of editing, as you can see us doing here on screen. But if you have lots of editing to do, you can click on the arrows in the top right-hand corner and load the full card, as you can see us doing here. You can then make more editations. And you can then click back to see how this has changed. We are now going to look at how to create graphs. Sales teams love graphs. After all, a picture says 1,000 words, and AgileBase has an easy-to-use graphing facility to help you show off the insights your data contains. Creating graphs can be done by any user, but it usually helps if the developers take the lead and build the obvious ones. We'll use our sales opportunity data to demonstrate a couple of examples, starting with creating a pie chart of lead source. So if you click on the graph icon at the top right, scroll down and then click Add Chart or Map. We will then be selecting the grouping, which is the x-axis, as source. Then select the y-axis. The function is count. And the field is each sales opportunity. You can then scroll down to choose the chart type. And in this example, we will be selecting pie chart. So once you've clicked on that, you can see that the pie chart has been created. We will then save the chart and name this as Sales Opportunity Source. And click Save. We'll then create another one so that you can just have a second example. So click Add Chart or Map again. So this time we will select the x-axis as Data Inquiry, and we'll do it by month. We'll then select the y-axis, add the function as count, and the field as sales opportunity. We'll then again select the type of chart, and this time we'll be selecting packed columns. Now you can see that this has been created. We're now going to name this and save it. We type here volume of sales opportunities per week. It's obviously by month. That's just a mistake, but it doesn't change the purpose of the tutorial. There you go. So you can see that the graph there has been created. So if you scroll to the far right of this chart, there's a little burger menu. So this is to edit the graph. So we're going to click that, click Edit. And then under Advanced Settings, and under Stacking, we'll choose Source. And there you go. You can now see how this has edited the graph. You can then click Save the graph to keep these changes. So you can continue to edit these charts and graphs however you wish so that they can appear in the ways that are most useful for you.